A moment of high drama is playing out in the Asia-Pacific. Headlines blare, phones buzz, and newsrooms scramble. In a move with seismic implications, the Philippines has entered into sensitive security talks with Taiwan. For years, whispers of back-channel communications existed. Now the world watches as these two key players step into the spotlight, their dialogue threatening to reshape the South China Sea's delicate status quo. Senior officials from both Manila and Taipei met under tight security, away from the media's glare. The talks were described as exploratory, but carry the weight of history and rivalry. With tensions rising across the region, every word exchanged signals a dramatic shift. The South China Sea, a flashpoint for decades, is suddenly more volatile. Why now? The answer lies in a string of recent confrontations at sea. Chinese vessels crowd contested waters, and the Philippines Coast Guard finds itself squeezed. This week's talks are both a warning and a plea for stability. Any agreement, even informal, could send shockwaves across Asia. For Manila and Taipei, this bold new dialogue marks an extraordinary chapter, one that could either ease tensions or ignite new ones. The world is watching, and so is Beijing. The Philippines has long walked a diplomatic tightrope. On one side, China, the economic giant, the regional superpower, and the country's largest trading partner. On the other, Taiwan, a fellow democracy, separated by a mere sea lane, but never officially recognized. For decades, Manila maintained a careful balancing act, adhering strictly to the One China policy. But geography is destiny. The Philippines and Taiwan are close, barely 200 kilometers apart at their nearest points. Their fishermen often share the same waters. Their coast guards face off against the same threats. In practice, Manila's need for security has sometimes trumped diplomatic orthodoxy, leading to quiet cooperation on issues like disaster response and maritime safety. Now, as tensions with China escalate, the cost of staying silent rises. National security is no longer an abstract concern. It is a daily lived experience for those in the disputed waters. For the Philippines, these talks with Taiwan mean risk and opportunity. Risk because Beijing's anger is almost certain. Opportunity because it opens the door to new forms of cooperation and collective strength. The stakes are higher than ever. The One China policy has shaped Asia's diplomatic landscape for half a century. Since 1975, the Philippines has officially recognized only Beijing, not Taipei. This policy, shared by most of the world, is meant to keep the peace and avoid Beijing's wrath. Yet beneath the surface, reality is more complex. Shared interests in the open seas have forced Manila and Taipei into unofficial dialogues and practical arrangements. Meanwhile, the South China Sea itself is a powder keg. Multiple nations claim overlapping slices. China has built artificial islands, stationed ships, and flexed its muscle. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan all assert claims. Skirmishes at sea, ramming incidents, water cannons, dangerous maneuvers are now regular news. Fishermen, often caught in the crossfire, pay the price. The South China Sea is one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Trillions in trade pass through. It's also rich in fish and possibly energy resources. Whoever controls these waters wields enormous influence. For Manila, defending its claims means more than pride. It means economic survival. The launch of security talks with Taiwan is proof of this shifting tide. So, what exactly are the Philippines and Taiwan discussing? While officials are tight-lipped, sources suggest three main areas: Coast Guard coordination, disaster response, and intelligence sharing. Each area is sensitive, but also has the potential to boost both countries' security and resilience. Coast Guard cooperation is an obvious starting point. Both Manila and Taipei face harassment from Chinese vessels. Joint patrols, shared protocols, or early warning systems could reduce the risk of dangerous encounters. Disaster response is another priority. Typhoons, earthquakes, and maritime accidents strike both nations regularly. Joint exercises and mutual aid agreements could save lives and build trust. Intelligence sharing. Information on Chinese ship movements and maritime surveillance could tip the balance in any confrontation. Even the hint of closer cooperation is enough to unsettle Beijing and force region-wide recalculations. For Manila and Taipei, these are existential choices. For the Philippines and Taiwan, the stakes could not be higher. Both find themselves squeezed by Beijing's growing assertiveness. For Manila, closer ties with Taipei offer backup in contested waters. For Taipei, it's a rare chance to break diplomatic isolation and gain a crucial partner just across the Bashi Channel. This isn't just about defense, it's about deterrence. If China sees the Philippines and Taiwan coordinating, it could think twice before escalating at sea. The talks also send a message. Smaller nations will not simply acquiesce to Beijing's demands. Cooperation gives both countries leverage, making unilateral action by China more politically costly. But this new alignment carries risk. Beijing is hypersensitive to anything that hints at Taiwan independence or foreign support for Taipei's security. The Philippines is signaling a willingness to endure Beijing's displeasure in exchange for greater resilience. If Manila and Taipei can deepen cooperation without sparking wider conflict, it may encourage others to follow. If things go wrong, though, the fallout could be severe. China has already reacted with predictable fury. Beijing's foreign ministry issued a stern warning. Any form of official exchange or military cooperation with Taiwan is a violation of the One China principle. State media called the talks a dangerous provocation. Chinese naval vessels have been seen intensifying patrols near both Philippine and Taiwanese waters. For Beijing, Taiwan is a red line. China's warnings are not just bluster, they're backed by economic leverage and military might. Manila knows this, but has decided the risk is worth it. The Philippines is betting that its new security partners, particularly the United States and Japan, will help cushion the blow. Other regional players are watching closely. Analysts warn that the region is entering uncharted waters, with the risk of miscalculation rising. The world waits to see what comes next. This week's talks could be a turning point for the South China Sea and for Asia's wider balance of power. By reaching out to Taiwan, the Philippines is rewriting the rules. The old playbook, quiet diplomacy, careful hedging, no longer offers protection. Instead, Manila is betting on collective action, hoping it can deter aggression by showing unity. If Manila and Taipei push forward, it could embolden others to defy Beijing's pressure. New security alignments may form. The United States and its allies may find themselves drawn deeper into the region's disputes. At the same time, the risk of confrontation grows, especially if China decides to punish Manila for its audacity. The South China Sea, already crowded with ships and rival claims, is now a potential flashpoint. For the Philippines and Taiwan, the calculus is simple: cooperate or be isolated. These talks are about more than lines on a map. They're about the future of the Indo-Pacific and the willingness to stand up to coercion. The world is watching, and the next move could change history.